Greetings and salutations, everyone. For some reason, that always makes me think of Yoko Ono used to do this thing where she would always start out, "People of Earth, how are you?" But I don't feel like I can get away with that. The practice I want to offer to you today, I'm calling Vinish Yinish, because there will be a little bit of movement with the breath in the beginning, mostly just to kind of get a little bit of heat built, a little bit of strength, a little bit of stretch. And then the second part will be more yinish, longer holds, not full yin, and then we're going to keep everything at around 2 minutes on each side, holding wise. You'll still get a nice muscular stretch, and you'll still get a little bit in that myofascial stuff. Mostly today working quads and hamstrings. I think, if you've sort of found a new interest in running or cycling or any of that stuff, that contract release of the quads and the hamstrings, you might be feeling a little bit in the morning or if you've been sitting for a while. And speaking of sitting for a while, if you're on the other end of the spectrum and you're binging a lot of Hulu and Netflix and YouTube, that constant sitting has kind of tightened up those areas. So we're going to work a little bit in both of those. So let's find our way to our mat. So we're going to start seated, and we're going to do a little bit of stuff for the eyes. You're going to take your hands, if you're a glass wearer, you'll need to take your glasses off, assuming that your hands are clean. So you're going to brush your palms together, and you're going to rub them together really vigorously until you start to develop a little bit of heat between those palms. And then once you've got that heat going, you're just going to cup your palms over your eyes and just drop the weight of your head into your hands. And let your eyes feel that warmth. This is good if you are staring at a screen for a long time, or if you're out and about and the pollen has kind of gotten to you. And you can take your hands down, interlace your fingers. Let's reach your arms up to the sky. Grow tall on the inhale. And on the exhale, we'll round forward, pressing those palms forward, drawing the belly in, breathing into those back ribs. And then we bring the torso back up. We'll bring the arms down. We're going to start with this left leg in front. So left arm coming up alongside the head. You can do that little fancy finger thing there. Right hand off to the side. Just an easy side bend to the right. As you reach to the right, ground that left hip down into the floor. You roll that wrist around up top there. Ooh, I wonder if y'all can hear those pops that are happening. Then we're going to bring the torso up. We're going to turn towards this right knee. Bring our palms on either side and just take a bow over that right knee. As you lean over that right leg, again, try to keep that left sit bone, left hip down. This will maybe be felt more in that left hip than the right hip. But we're going to do both sides. Don't worry about that too much. And we'll bring the torso up, back to the center. Switch your legs. Right leg in front. Right arm, forgot to do the releve hand. Left hand off to the side. A little lean to the left. And then roll that wrist around a bit. Good. And as you come back up, we'll take that turn, plant our hands on either side of that left knee and fold over. The drawback of this pose is that you have such an up-close view of your feet that you're like, wow, they need some TLC. Mine do, I don't know about yours. And then we'll come back up into the center. We're going to find our way to the top of our mat. So we're coming up to standing. We're not going to do any sun salutations proper. We're going to do half suns, and we're going to add some lunges in. First couple, though, we're just going to do the half sun. So feet close-ish. They don't have to touch. Today's going to be a very ish kind of class. Ish. Reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, take a forward fold out over the legs. Come up about halfway. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, sweep up. Let's do it 2 more times like that. Exhale, dive out over the legs. Halfway up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side. Reach up on that inhale. Let's do it 1 more time. We'll add a lunge in. Exhale, fold out over the legs. Halfway up on your inhale. This time on your exhale, step that foot back, left foot that would be. Bring the knee down. Just stay in this low lunge. These back toes, let's go ahead and uncurl them. So as we lunge into this right leg, this feeling that we're letting that left hip and thigh just kind of drop towards the floor. You could stay here if you're like, this is maybe as hard as I want to work today. Or you can bring your hands to that front leg and stack up that torso. Roll your shoulders back and down. You can bring that left hand to the left hip to kind of encourage it to press forward. Just staying here a little longer than we would if we were doing a true vinyasa practice, and a little less than if we were doing a true yin practice. Hands to the floor, hence the ish factor. Step that left foot up to meet your right foot. Halfway up on the inhale. Exhale as you fold, right foot stepping back as you lunge into that left leg, bringing down that right knee, uncurl those toes. So again, hands can stay low. You will still get a stretch in that left IT band. You'll still get a stretch in that right hip, right thigh. Or come up into this sort of shape where, you know, you were about to propose to someone. You probably wouldn't put your hand on your hip unless you were being real sassy about it. Like, why wouldn't you want to marry me? Shoulders back and down. You've just given me too much of a glimpse into my world. And then the hands to the floor. Flip those back toes under. Step up. Halfway up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do that again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold out over the legs. Lengthen spine on your in-breath. On the exhale, left foot's going to come back. Left knee down. Keep the left toes curled under this time. Now, this time you're going to keep your left hand on the floor, maybe directly under your left shoulder, maybe a little bit off to the side. Right hand to the right thigh. And we're going to take a little twist towards the right. As we twist towards the right, you could stay low, or you could lift up that left knee. It's going to give you a little bit more of a twist and a stretch in that left hip flexor, left quad. And for today's purposes, I'm just keeping my right hand on my right knee because I want a little bit more leverage in that twist. Then bring that knee down, both hands to the floor, left foot up to meet your right foot, halfway up on the inhale. Exhale as you fold, right foot's going to step back, bring down that right knee, right toes curled under. So again, your right hand can come off to the side a little bit. You can be on fingertips, palms, fists. You could put a block under there if you wanted. Starting to take that twist towards the left. Then maybe that left knee comes up off the floor. Again, I'm just using this left hand to help me move into the twist a little more. You know, a lot of times we'll take that hand up into the sky, which is perfectly fine, but I always feel like I lose a little bit of the twist once that happens. Bring down that right knee, hands to your mat. Step up, halfway up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side, ride the breath all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to do that one more time. Reach up on that inhale. Exhale, dive out over those legs. Halfway up on the in-breath. Exhale, fold. Left foot stepping back. Left knee down. Left toes curled under. Now this time I'm going to have my left hand a little bit to the left and slightly forward. My right hand to my right thigh. Taking that twist to the right. Now this time I'm going to let my right foot turn out maybe 10%. Then I'm going to bring my left heel towards me and see if I can reach back with that right hand and grab that foot. So I'm going to draw my left heel towards my left glute, but I'm going to open my right shoulder. I'm going to draw my right shoulder blade towards my left shoulder blade and maybe look over that right shoulder. Oh, it hurts so good. Take another breath in. When you let go of this left foot, don't let it smack down. Reorient yourself here. Left foot up to the right foot. Halfway up on the inhale. Exhale, right foot back. Bring down that right knee. We're going to turn that left foot out a little bit. So again, right hand is slightly forward and off to the side. So there's a hint of that twist. You're not going as deep as you did. Then that right foot towards you. Reach back with that left hand. Ooh, try not to be right on your kneecap. You might want to slightly move it back a little bit there. Ooh. Sorry for all the sound effects, but I mean, it's like when you eat something really good and you don't make a sound. Like, are you even eating it? Then let go of the foot. We're going to step back this time to downward facing dog. Just 3 breaths here in down dog. If you need to move, move. If you can be still, be still. Then we're going to walk our feet about halfway up our mat. And then you're going to walk your hands back a step or so. Come up about halfway. Let there be about a fist distance between your feet. If you can't get your left hand to the floor without rounding your back, a block could be very helpful to have here. Otherwise, left hand on the floor, directly into your face. Bend your left knee, but keep that left heel on the ground. Right hand to right hip, twisting towards the right. Step down into that right foot. Keep that left heel on the floor. Hamstrings and IT bands are probably what you're feeling here. We're going to get a little bit more into those in just a moment. Then you're going to straighten that left leg, right hand to the floor, bend that right knee, keep that heel on the floor, left hand, left hip, take that twist towards your left. This is one of my favorite poses to do. This is great if you're a runner or cyclist. This is a good post-workout stretch. And then come back to the center. Interlace your hands at the small of your back. Let's fold over the legs. Arms might come towards overhead. They might just be reaching for the wall behind you. And we're going to drop the arms. Wiggle out those hips a little bit. We're going to take our feet as wide as our mat. And then turn your toes out. And let's bend the knees, sink the hips, come down to arms inside those knees. Nice little squat here. You might rock back and forth a few times. Oh, this is another great post-workout stretch. This is a good pose just to try to do every day. And if you can hold it for about a minute, you will see such a change in your hips and your low back. If you have a sturdy a counter or a piece of furniture, you could have your hands on and practice this at the risk of TMI. I brush my teeth like this. I have like one hand on the counter doing that. And I just come up to spit. I know, too much. Hands to the floor. Oh, send your hips up. Walk those feet back in towards each other. A little sway, side to side. Right. Find your way back to down dog. And we're going to make our way into a seated position. So come down, swing the legs around. We're going to do a little bit of some yin stuff here. So the first one is a cross leg forward fold. It's kind of a cross leg caterpillar is what we would call it in yin. Your right ankle, cross it over your left. And then you want to try to let these legs be a little bit passive here. And your fingers are going to plant out in front, and we're going to hinge forward. And then maybe a little bit of rounding here. I don't know if I would go like full rounding. But you could have your hands on your lap like that, or your fingers kind of framing up your shin. And as you hinge forward, for me, where I feel it is in that outer IT band and a little bit in that piriformis in the glute. Let your chin rest on your chest. Let your eyes close. So in the Yin tradition, poses are typically held 2 to 5 or even 7 minutes. We're just going 2 minutes on each side here, because it takes about 2 minutes for that fascial tissue to release and kind of cooperate with you in the pose. You have a little less than a minute in this shape on this side. With your eyes being closed, helps you to let your breath find its normal rhythm. We're not doing like a particular breath pattern necessarily in Yin, but it also helps you to relax into that place of stillness. You've got less than 30 seconds here. More seconds. Then we're going to sit up. Hands are going to come a little bit behind you. Find a little bit of a length in the spine first. Then you're going to uncross, and if you look down, your right leg is a little bit longer than your left leg. Just shows you how much stuff we can hold on to in these hips and hamstrings. So then we're going to cross our left ankle over the right. And then start to hinge forward. Same idea. Hands alongside you, maybe on your lap. Chin towards the chest. You can probably go ahead and get it to the chest since you've done this already for a couple of minutes. Close the eyes. Breathe. Been said that the hardest part of a Yin practice is the stillness and the quiet of it. You know, if you're someone that tends to run more on the Yang side, the Yang side, the Yin can be sometimes a little hard to embrace, a little challenging to embrace. More than a minute on this side. Now 45 more seconds. Last 10 seconds here. I swear this side always feels like it takes longer. So bring your torso up. Slide those hands a little bit behind you. They become like support there. You might even find a little bit of a back bend here as you uncross the ankles. Then your legs are hopefully back to the same length. So that was a half caterpillar option. We're going to go full caterpillar this time. So you're going to open up your feet a little bit, maybe about hip width, maybe even shoulder width apart. Typically in a forward fold, we energize these legs very much. This one, roll your legs in and out a few times, and then most of us, the feet are going to roll open. If your feet roll in, that's fine. We're going to start with the hands on the shins, just to kind of help us forward a little bit. And then you're going to just bow the head down, and this could be it for you. You could just stay right here, or bring the hands alongside you. And then you might go a little bit more this time, since you have that space between the legs here to kind of roll down into it. You could even bring your hands inside and take your legs a little wider. Again, let that chin rest on the forehead. Your back is really going to round here, and just breathe into those ribs. If you carry that knot of tension between the shoulder blades, laser your breath in on that spot. Scan that you're not hunching up shoulders, that you're not squeezing the glutes. About another 90 seconds in this shape. One more minute. Just about 3 more breaths here. Now we've done a lot of forward folding here, so don't try to run out of this pose. First thing we're going to do is we're going to flex the feet and just kind of energize the legs. Bring your hands alongside your thighs or your hips. Find some length there first. You won't come up all the way, but draw your belly in, roll your shoulders back and down, and bring your torso up. Maybe walk the hands behind you. Lean back into the hands. We're going to do a little hip opening, or fire log pose. If this pose is too intense for you, come back to that cross-leg position that we did in the beginning, but a little bit more of a square shape, so you don't have your feet tucked up underneath your upper thighs or glutes. If you're going to go for fire log, your left leg is going to be forward and left shin running sort of parallel to your mat or to your screen. Your right shin, we're going to see if we can stack it on top. If you get here and you're more like this and your ankle's kind of torqued or your knees taking flight, you could put a blanket or a pillow between this top knee and this bottom ankle, or just bring that foot to the floor in front of that shin. Reach back, kind of get some junk out of the trunk here. Fingertips alongside you, find a little bit of length in the spine. Flex your feet. We're going to tip that left ear over towards the left shoulder, so draw your chin in just a little bit. chin to your chest. Bring your head up. Bring those hands behind you a little bit. Use those hands to tip you forward. Now, we're not going to round into this as much as we did in that caterpillar shape. So you could just stay here with the hands behind you. You could bring the hands here, or you could even bring hands to shins. And you're hinging forward, and it's almost like you're pressing that tailbone into your mat. Oh, I am feeling this in this right hip today. Keep flexing your feet. That'll keep your knees safe. Let your eyes close. You have about 1 more minute to go here. You can stay here. You might see if you can get the forearms to the floor. If you find that you're tensing those glutes or drawing up those shoulders, exhale through the mouth. Find that you're clenching that jaw, spread it open wide, maybe even shift it side to side. About 3 more breaths here on this side. And we're going to roll the torso up. You might have to use the hands like jaws of life here. Bring your right foot to the floor, and your left foot to the floor, and just a little side to side with those knees. I don't know if you heard that pop, but it felt really good. All right, so we're going to take it to the other side. So right leg on the bottom. Left shin is either crossing in front or on top. Don't be terribly surprised or concerned if one side plays a little better with others. Hands out to the side, right ear over towards right shoulder. Soften that right shoulder down. That was for me. I can't see yours. And you're going to bring the chin to the chest and lift the head. Hands behind you, again, to kind of tip you forward. Flex those feet. Again, being mindful that your left side might be a little tighter than the other. You might eventually bring the hands to the side, or again, you could bring those hands onto your leg. As long as it doesn't feel like you're pressing that top leg down, you just want this to be support, not pressure. If this is your tighter side, do that little check that you're not hunching up shoulders or angry face. A little bit more than a minute here. I find on this side I tend to kind of tighten my glutes. Just kind of wiggle into your hips once in a while if you find yourself doing that. About 30 more seconds. Last 10 seconds. You can do it. And then we're going to walk our hands back towards us. Oh man, hands behind you, feet to the floor. Moan, groan, curse, whatever you got to do. Side to side with those hips. Now we only have a couple of poses left. We're going to do a back bend on our belly. So if you, for some reason, you can't go onto your belly, you come into bridge pose, have a block or something to put up underneath your low back to support you in that bridge pose. Otherwise, we're going to come onto our bellies. And we're going to bring the elbows right up under the shoulders for Sphinx Pose. Now this is going to be the pose where we start. It might be the one where we stay. Now, versus a traditional Sphinx, you're going to take your feet a little bit wider. So about a little bit wider than your hips. And this can be the pose for you right here. If you're holding this, you can either stay pretty active, or you could sink down into the shoulders and bring your chin toward your chest. If you want to go a little bit more active, take your arms and hands a little wider and straighten the arms for seal pose. This puts a little bit more pressure on the low back, not necessarily in a detrimental way, but it does get some increased blood flow going there. But if you do this and your low back is like, what the are you doing? Then you come back down into Sphinx, okay? We're going to do a little bit more than one more minute here. If you're in seal, you can bow the chin forward a little bit, but you probably don't want to go full heavy. Less than a minute. Also, if you're in seal at any point, you need to come back down to Sphinx. Feel free to do that. For 30 seconds. Fifteen. And then as you start to come down, make a little pillow out of your hands. Bring your forehead onto that pillow, bend your knees, and just little windshield wipers with the legs. And the side to side with the legs. Then we'll bring our hands up under our shoulders. Make our way back to child's pose for just about 2 or 3 breaths, breathing into those back ribs. And then from there, you can come onto your back. And once you're on your back, hug those knees into the chest, a little side to side. And then from here, extend out the arms and the legs. Give yourself a few minutes for Shavasana. So drop the arms beside you, roll the feet in and out. Let your eyes close. Take a deep breath, fill in the belly, the ribs, the chest. Open the mouth, exhale. Do that again, deep breath, belly, ribs, chest. Pause at the top. Open the mouth, exhale. And maybe one more of those. Stay here for as long as you like, at least 3 to 5 minutes. Namaste.